Peter Knight, Head of Property Academy. Are UK estate agents and letting agents transactional?
Many are, too many are. And I think it's one of the reasons why we have got such seismic change going on really in our industry, insofar as the more transactional it becomes, the more formulaic it becomes, the easier it is to automate it.
Well, that's the likes of, I can say it, you probably can't, your purple bricks and your online's coming in, being homogenous and very cookie cutter with their, this is it, plug and play.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you were to use another analogy, let's use Amazon back in the days when it was merely selling books, right? And very transactional, you know, so far as I want a book, okay, I go on Amazon, I get the book delivered the next day, gift wrapped if I'm in the mood, right? Lovely, all sorted. If, however, I don't really know what I want to read, I'm going on holiday, I want 4 or 5 books to take away with me, I go into a bookshop, I peruse, I sit down, I pick a few up, I speak to somebody who's knowledgeable, an expert, who perhaps already knows me and says, do you know what, I think I've got just the read for you. And those are the two different things. Now, if the consumer, when it comes to selling or letting a property, okay, is not getting that personal service, right, from a, if you want to call it, traditional estate agent, and it's very transactional, and there is somebody else that may be faceless in the same way that Amazon is, to a degree, but is much, much cheaper, you know, they're going to consider it at the very least and weigh up the different options. So my sense is that over the years, we've gone from being much more relationship driven to transactional. And
some people might not know, when we call transactional almost commoditized is another word.
Yeah, yes, I think, but it's focusing really on the deal. It's focusing purely on the outcome in terms of price, yield, and so on. When actually the drivers of people moving, I mean, all of our surveys that we've done over the years have said that fundamentally the main reason why people move is for life stages or lifestyle. So you've got life stages where people get married, or they have kids, they have more kids, sometimes they split up, or they downsize, and death. Yeah, it's one of the guarantees in terms of sales. And then there's pure lifestyle, which is, I'd like a bigger house. I don't need it, but I'd like one. I'd like a bigger garden.
So what can estate agents do to fit in with this new way that people will pay extra in this world if you give them a great service?
Yes. If you give them a great service. I feel that the issue fundamentally at the moment is that the service provision has not adapted or changed sufficiently to address the demands of consumers based on their other experiences. So, broadly speaking, if I look at all the different interactions I have with other service providers, so if I look at the interactions I have with my accountant or with my lawyers, if I look at the interactions I have with people like my dentist even, or my hairdresser, not that anybody would be, I'm sure, asking for a referral, but if I look at all those, I actually have a greater level of engagement with all of those people than I do with the majority of the estate agents. In fact, aside from the person I bought my most recent home from, a chap called Andrew Giller at House, apart from Andrew, every other estate agent that I have transacted with, where I've sold a property or let a property, I hear nothing ever from them at all, other than maybe I get an email newsletter about their new office, or about their new this or their new that. Not bothered, not as a customer, not remotely bothered. So I feel we've got to go back to, and certainly when I entered the business, which was some years ago now, it was very much about building relationships, and you became a part of the community that you were in, and you networked and you helped people, and you'd be proactive. A property would come on the market and you think, that Chris Watkin, I reckon he might be interested in that. And I'd phone you, even if you hadn't actually come looking, because I remembered a conversation we'd had that you said, oh, my next move might be to this area. And
because do you think we're too reliant on putting stuff in computers? And I think we should probably go back to the old days of hot boxes.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, the thing is, there's some fantastic prop tech out there, some fantastic systems out there, and it's about combining the both. But what I would say is that with all the technology that we have, so if you, not just the CRM systems and so and all the prop tech. Things like mobile phones, right, the internet itself, Rightmove, Zoopla, and so on. All of those facilities, plus things like Google and Google Earth and Google Maps and so on. You add the whole lot up and all the data that's available and all the knowledge that's around, and no branch on average is doing a single more completion than they were doing back in the 1980s when I was running Jackson Property Services without a single computer in the entire business. So we've developed all this technology and all this ability to do things really, really quickly, but the net output is the same numbers of transactions, or it fluctuates from one year to another. But if you average out over a 5-year period,
but let's be honest, I think Rightmove 2004 there was 9,000 estate agents.
Yeah.
Now, earlier in a previous video, you said there was nearly 20,000 estate agents. The same number of transactions. Yeah. 2-3 times.
There's 15,000 businesses. There's 25,000 branches, depending on how you count the
so there's
numbers.
more estate agents. There's the same amount of transactions. Even less.
Yes.
And we've got all this tech.
Yes.
But we're not using it particularly well.
And it's taking longer for both an offer typically to be generated.
Yes.
And worse, perhaps, it's taking much longer for an offer once it's accepted to get to the exchange of contracts.